everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Retreat. I am your host, Misha L.
Hey.
And this is my special guest, Derek Johnson.
Hello. Hey. We doing it.
We are doing it. I'm so excited to have you. First of all, Derek, I like to start the show with how I met my guest.
Yeah.
Now, but the thing is that I cannot remember meeting you.
I pop up in people's lives
Yeah.
like a mythical creature. That's usually what happens.
Like, literally, we were just talking about it, and it was like we usually just were like in a group.
We know the same group of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I go to that group, it's like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? I know you from the other time. We was with some other people.
I know, and I've
Yeah.
always called you Derek, but like I know you go by DJ.
It doesn't
And
even matter
I'm like,
anymore.
no, like it's like, who is DJ? That's Derek. Like, but no, I do know you've always been so kind and sweet, and I'm so glad you agreed to be on here because Derek, which I'm finding out is like the podcast master.
A little, I wouldn't say a master.
You have like 729 podcasts. So. But the coolest thing is that. Okay, so I want to talk about this. This episode is for me, y'all, because I'm finna get all this information about this podcast.
She's being so much. She's the host of the podcast.
Like this, I'm sure y'all will enjoy it too, but this is for me. Okay. So first of all, okay, so you have sold podcasts.
Yes, I have sold 2 podcasts.
Okay, so like, what are the steps that you would take to sell a podcast, or like, how do you get to the point of like, okay, like I'm ready to sell my podcast?
Well, for me, I would honestly say that the way I sold 2 was by selling 1.
Okay.
In my case.
Mm.
So, Comic-Con was going to start this thing called Comic-Con Radio, and I had a friend who worked with him.
Okay.
And he told me that they were looking for podcasts. Not that I personally already had one.
Okay.
And when he said, "Oh, do you have any ideas?" I did what everyone should do and just lie. Say you have it. Say you have everything and
sure.
it's just ready to go. And then he's like, "Okay, cool." I think it was like Thursday. And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Can you come in on Tuesday?"
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
Of course. I'm gonna show you the Bible, all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is true. I went directly home, and one of my roommates, who's a producer,
Okay.
he was like, "Oh, I came inside just flustered. He was like, "Oh man, what's wrong?" I was like, "Look, you, me, we're going to the bar right now. I have the green flashcards.
Yeah.
We're gonna go figure this out." He's like, I was like, "We gonna pitch a podcast show that does not exist."
Yeah.
So in my case, that relationship that I had with that person is what allowed me to do that.
Yes.
But to actually get it sold, it did take a lot of hours of us and a couple sleepless nights to get it ready in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Number one thing I would always say is have a niche. So the 2 podcasts I sold were Southern Senpais, and they're sold into Comic-Con Radio, which is owned by Spoiler Media.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which
Southern
is a
Senpais,
big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
It's kind of a
little
big
bit.
deal.
Right. When I went down to, I was at the San Diego Comic-Con this year.
And you know what? I was going to ask, for the people who don't know, could you explain what Comic-Con is?
If you don't know what Comic-Con is, how do I explain it? So it's where, and you probably have seen it on TV where all those comic book nerds go and people are dressed up in what's called cosplay.
So you're a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
You're admitting it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to put it
geek,
out there.
however you want to say
Yes,
it.
I love that.
Because we make money in movies now, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
cool. Right, exactly. So it's a large convention for comic books.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And other media. And so the creators get to meet their fans and stuff like that. The one in San Diego is the largest in the world because it's the original one.
Yeah.
You usually can't get in unless you know someone or you buy tickets within the first hour. Like a couple years ago,
So it's like a Beyonce concert.
it's 3 days. It's massive.
Yeah.
Massive. Everyone's there. Like Adult Swim's there. Promoting their stuff. Disney's there. HBO's there. That's because they can connect directly with their fans.
Yeah.
And people who usually go to Comic-Con, they don't spend money on anything else.
Right.
They're just like, here, just give me my money. So you know the studios.
Hell
that's
yeah.
what they wanna be.
They be like, I've been waiting all year for this Comic-Con
Yeah.
to come. So it seems like a really big deal. I've never been to one.
You gotta go. There's one at LA Comic-Con that's
Mm.
coming up. You gotta go to that one.
But I feel like I wouldn't know anything. I'm a very basic.
It's the best time to go.
You think so?
Yes. Yeah. To be fair, I didn't know anything about Comic-Cons either until when I was in Tennessee. One of my friends was like, "Oh, I want to go to." I think it was called WonderCon in Tennessee, and I was like, I don't want to.
You weren't at your nerd prime yet.
Yeah,
You were like, I'm just starting out. I can't do that.
I don't know if I can publicly be. I don't know if I can come out of the geek closet. I don't know if I want to tell people that I like comic books this much.
Yeah.
But I went there and had such a great time.
That's
and I didn't
what's
know
up.
anything. It's always good to go with people. Well, we should go.
Yeah.
We should go.
I'm coming.
And then I can show you everything.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. You'll see tons of celebrities. And
Yeah.
there's always tons of free stuff too.
Look, I love free things.
Yeah. So
Yes.
when I was trying to, so the reason why I said this because they were down at San Diego Comic-Con too. So when I was in there pitching, they really want to know what your niche or your hook is,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
for Southern Senpais, me and Nicholas, my co-host, were both from the South.
Okay. Yeah. Because you're
And-
from Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm from
Yes.
Tennessee. Represent 615, the borough, not Nashville. Outside of Nashville.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the outskirts of Nashville.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, exactly. And he's from Louisiana.
Mm.
So we were like, what's popular? What do we like to watch?
Yeah.
Or what do we want to know more about?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I like anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we're both from the South, but like Japan and the South is completely different.
Yeah.
Nothing about it is the same.
Hmm.
We saw this video, though, of like these Japanese people who really like Westerns.
Mm.
It's like a whole thing over there. They're like, they love watching Westerns. They love cowboys and stuff like that. So we were like, oh, what if Southern Senpais?
Yeah.
And that alliteration just kind of stuck. We had like, I think 20 different ideas on the note cards.
Yeah.
And that was the one that made sense.
Dope.
Yeah. And I always tell people like, I think it was either the Greeks or the Romans who did this, where if you have an idea that's good, I do not advocate getting intoxicated. Just
Yes.
clarify
don't
that
do
now.
that. Don't.
Be of legal age. I do not endorse that. But part of this particular process, to be real with it,
Because y'all were at the bar.
we were at the bar. It was like, okay, if it makes sense when you're drunk and when you're sober,
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Yes.
You're right. So
Yeah.
So we went with Southern Senpais, and then when I was in the room pitching it, I knew who my audience was.
Yeah.
That was a really big thing.
Absolutely.
I had this. You got to have a really clear vision.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Senpais, Southern culture meets Japanese culture. It's about two Southern guys exploring that Japanese culture
That's dope.
because it would be so foreign.
Yeah.
Watching anime, talking about manga, things like that.
Yeah.
So then, we had a different project that didn't take off called Film Center,
Okay.
which was about entertainment news that didn't have to do with celebrities, studio news specifically. So like things that relate to people like us who are in the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't care about how big Kim Kardashian's butt is.
Yeah, no.
I want to know about the strike and when I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Why does Fast and the Furious have 10 movies, but Kung Fu Panda, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do. It only has like a couple of them.
Yeah.
Who makes that decision and why?
Yeah.
Right?
Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
I think
Fast
I
and
stopped
Furious.
watching it like 6.
So you watch Star Wars. I think most people last one they saw was like 6 or 7.
Whichever the one that Paul passed away, that was the last one I
7.
saw.
That's
Yeah.
7.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to know how I know that?
How?
Because I'm what they call action trash. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has action, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it.
But I do like action movies though.
Yeah.
But like sometimes people take it too far because I'm like I just feel
They
like
went to
there was no
space
need
last
of 10.
Remember in Fast and
Actually?
Furious? Yeah, they went to space.
I don't think anybody that I know went to see it, so I had no idea. They were in space.
I
The
knew
cars?
Yeah, they drove the car into space. You gotta look it up. Hey, after this, if you haven't seen it, look at it. It's a crazy. It's like in duct tape. They basically just duct tape this rocket to a car, and Ludacris and Tyrese, they get on this jet, lifts them up, and then they just rocket up into space. And like little Bow Wow has helped built it.
Bow Wow was in it?
I think it was no. Who was it? It was Little Romeo or Little Bow Wow. Who does the
In what
who's in Tokyo
multi-universe
Drift.
do we live in that Tyrese and Ludacris would be on a duct tape rocket ship driving cars in space?
I don't know. Something's wrong with this timeline we're in. Something's happening. Something's going on around here.
But if they had an 11, would you go see it?
Yeah. I hope they go through time next time, and they're like, "Oh, we're in the 1800s," stuff like that. I hope it's just crazy. I hope they go back and kick, help the slaves and stuff like that. And it's like, "Why are you freeing the slaves?" It's like, "Family, because of family. That's why we're freeing the slaves. That's why we gotta free the slaves because of family."
Shut
John
the
Cena
hell
is
up.
his brother now. Vin Diesel's
John
brother.
Cena?
Yeah. John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother. Awesome. I like it's one of those movie franchises that you just watch it, not expecting anything. There's something I think it's freeing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, being able to go into a movie and not being like, okay, let me judge this for how good it is.
Yeah.
No,
let me just
chill.
Let me just enjoy this.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Rush Hour franchise. It's literally one of my favorites.
Yes.
All of them perfect execution.
Perfect Rush
I hope
Hours.
they make another one.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I'll definitely be there. But that is absolutely hilarious. But so okay, have a niche.
Yes.
And then what else?
Have a niche. Know your audience. So
Know
my
your
niche
audience.
was it was a bit of a crossover. That's something that I like to do, and for a lot of projects that I do, I've noticed that helps me get people's attention more.
Absolutely.
When it's not something that is foreign, that don't be something that's we say, oh, people are like, I want to be unique.
Yeah.
You really just need to stand out, which
Yeah.
is different than being unique. Unique
For
is
sure.
like something I have not seen before. You really need to stand out. People know who Southerners are.
Yeah.
Being Japanese is
Yeah.
not new either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you do that cross, like, oh, Southern guy's going to check out Japanese stuff. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes it stand out crossovers.
Yeah.
So that specific niche was for Southerners that like anime,
Yeah.
right? And they
Is
want
it
to
is there many of y'all? Did
There's
y'all
a
attract
lot.
a lot of people?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot. So, and we were like, we're both from the South. We like anime. We'll see if anyone else does. And
Yeah.
apparently, they do.
Absolutely.
And then, so they know your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since we were part of our audience, we're like, okay, we know what we kind of want, but
Yeah.
that's not enough.
yeah.
You have to make sure that you ask around and get some, do what they call market research.
Yeah.
Right. Just because especially when you're part of an audience, you're like, oh, everyone thinks the same way I do.
Yeah. Not true.
It's never like that.
No,
It's
not at
never
all.
like that.
But I feel like a lot of times you do find the people that are on the same level or think like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I think that one of my issues starting out, I'm like, oh, well, like, the people around me kind of have different interests than I do, but that really doesn't matter because
Right.
once you start getting bigger, you'll find the people that it works for.
Exactly.
So, which is great because
Great.
don't let that stop you, the people in your inner circle, because everybody's not on the same path. So,
Right.
but yeah.
And don't let other people's paths interrupt your path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't let it disturb
Don't let it
it.
disturb
'cause,
you. Right.
But that's dope though.
Yeah. So once you know your audience too, it's like, I told them exactly who I was going for.
Yeah.
I knew what the vision was with my crossover.
Yeah.
I knew who my audience was, and I also I had to have some artwork and some things drawn up and like my
like have a
my
plan.
step by step plan,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, it was a pitch.
Yeah.
They loved it, and then I pitched them Film Center,
Mm-hmm.
which is the name of the other podcast.
Okay.
That we originally shot a pilot for. I just tacked it on the end,
Mm.
and while I'm pitching, Nicholas looks at me and he's like, "What the fuck? What is this guy
He's like,
talking
we
about?"
did not talk about no pilot at the bar.
Right? He was like, "This is not part of the plan, man." But I was like, "Hey, they took one. Maybe they'll take a second."
Yeah.
Right? When you have an opportunity and someone's like, "Oh, okay, I like this. I'm going to give you this opportunity." Not that you should take it for granted.
Yeah.
Right. But if you think it might be the right fit, I mean, they were looking for shows,
Right.
so give me 2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
I did kind of regret that at first. It's a lot of work.
But yeah. But I mean, it's money.
Yeah, but now it's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is dope.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it even led me to making those 2 shows.
Yeah.
And selling them to Spoiler Media and Comic Con Radio. led me to getting helping other people with podcasts.
Yeah.
I am producing Rich People's Business. That is done by Dana Haley, who was previously a writer for The Proud Family.
Okay.
And bruh man, Reggie Ballard.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the co-host. Yeah, from Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm producing their podcast.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Look at you. That's why I said you do like 179 things.
I'm always
like,
doing something. I gotta get to that money, man. I can't go lie. I gotta get it.
I know that's right.
I gotta get it.
I know that's right.
Somebody had to have it, and I gotta have what they have.
Because let's see, podcast producer, you're a writer, you're a director. So I saw on your long bio that you didn't send me. Because when I asked for a bio, he sent me like 2 sentences.
She said, I want a short bio. I was like,
I'm like,
cool.
don't play games with me.
Cool.
Like,
like,
you better send me that LinkedIn bio.
It was like literally like 2 sentences.
Okay, so tell me about, what is this, Ducks? Was it a short about ducks?
So that was the first viral video I had ever made. And it's kind of what set my mindset to what I do now.
Okay.
Because a lot of creators, they think mostly about creation.
Yeah.
Right? Which, of course, right? Because it's art.
Yeah.
Right? But it's called show business. And in my mind, no one can sell you like you.
Yeah.
No one knows your own in and outs like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so back in 2015, I made this video about ducklings following me. And as of, what is it? I think the 18th of August, 2023. If you still go on Google and type in ducklings think I'm their mom, I'm the first one to come up. So I made little backstory, just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I was working at Disney World at the time.
Okay.
Down in Florida, and I was about to be late to work. I almost ran over some ducklings. I didn't. I drove her to the side. I swerved so that way I didn't hit them.
Don't get us canceled.
No, I didn't want to hit them. So I swerved, right? And then a car was coming by, so I kind of hovered over them.
Okay.
Right, to protect them from the other car. And I was like, all right, cool, because I got to go to work. And they started following me. And so I took a video of that and I put it on Facebook. And just so everyone knows, they're fine. I got them adopted by Animal Kingdom. I almost lost my job for that. That's a whole other story. But
I kind of want to hear the story. Can we hear the story or a snippet?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I like to say this. I'm a man. Okay? I'm a man.
That does not take away from your manhood.
But I hearing ducklings cry, that hit me. Because I was trying to leave, and they couldn't get up the steps where I was. So they started crying. You ever hear a duckling cry?
No, I didn't even know they cried.
Bro, I didn't know they could cry. I was like, oh, they'll be fine till I get back. And they was like, oh, my God. I was like, whoa. Whoa.
Are you serious?
Yes, they started crying. I was like, I can't leave.
No.
I can't.
Obviously, you have to take them home.
And I was thinking to myself, like, am I really going to stay? I have to go to work in like an hour.
I would have been like, I just quit. I got to go be a mother.
I called my roommate, Ben, to come downstairs and bring me, ask for his help.
Yeah.
And how I got stuck with him was because I was like, oh, I'll just call the animal shelter or something.
Yeah.
They'll come take him. They have animals, right? They were like, oh, no, sorry, that's the animal's natural habitat. So you got to call the game warden. For ducks? Whatever. Hey, game warden, come get these ducks. He's like, no, I can't do that. You got to talk to the animal shelter. Animal shelter said, no, call back the game warden. And we're running around in circles. And then finally, the game warden says, you know what? I can't take these ducklings off your hands. I said, why didn't you?
I would have had them on 3-way. Like, because y'all ain't about to play games with me or these ducklings
20 minutes
that are now my children.
Come get these ducks.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, cool. But just before your warning, I'm going to arrest you when I get there. For what? And he's like, well, I mean, that's how I had to take them. That's how I can acquire them. It's because you had the possession of them, so I had to take them from your possession. No, I'll figure it out, sir. Don't worry about it. So I'm sitting there, and one of our other neighbors had come out. They were crying when I was trying to leave, they were crying so loud, like some of my neighbors had come out and be like, hey, what's going on? That's how loud they were crying when I would try to leave. So they brought me this little clear bin, and I put them in the bin, and I walked upstairs, and it was a Disney college program at the time.
Okay.
So I'm an intern.
Meaning
I really got to get to work.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right. So I was like, what if I work at Disney, this Animal Kingdom, right? What if I just Just like give them, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And my friend Ben, my roommate Ben at the time, he was like, "That's not gonna work." And I was like, it's probably not. I gotta do something." So we go over there. We drive over there, and by the way, the only part of this that went viral was that first part when they were following me.
Yeah.
None of the rest of this went viral.
I was about to say it probably would if you would have recorded the rest of it.
I did. No one cared about the other ones. They just cared about. They just cared about
they
the
said,
first
"Oh,
one.
get arrested. We don't care."
Yeah. So we get there and to make I'm gonna try to shorten the story a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like carrying the ducklings onto the tram, right? They can take you up because I was like, if I try to walk up there, they're just gonna get me.
Yeah.
Right, and just tell me to leave. So the only way to get there was on the tram.
Yeah.
But we get there and the guy's like, you can't bring those wild animals because they are wild.
Yeah.
Right? They're ducklings, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, they're local ducklings.
Yeah.
Can't bring wild animals on this tram. You're not allowed to just do that. They could have diseases or whatever.
Yeah.
And I go, look, man, I work here for Disney. All right, I'm just trying to get to work, bro. He's like, you don't work. I was like, look, here's my work idea. Why would I bring these? Just lied my ass off. Why would I bring these ducklings here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to work, bro. Can I please? Like, I already talked to some guy named Jerry in the back. Okay, he said I could do this. I work here. Why would I not be doing this?
Said, "Stop playing with me."
I would get fired
Yeah.
if I was faking, if I was lying to you.
He goes, "I am the manager."
You're right. And lets me on, gives me my own little personal tram in the back. My roommate Ben is with me. Ben is like, I can't believe this is working. We get up to the front. His manager is there just doing a shift change.
Yeah.
I give her the exact same story. She carries him through security for me. Awesome. I think I'm about to get away with this. I'm like,
This is a sitcom.
It's doing pretty well. Then, interesting fact about Disney World, each park has a vice president and then a president over all of them.
Okay.
This is the part where I almost got fired.
They said no.
Right.
No.
The vice president just so happened to be there. I was like, what are the chances?
What are the
This man
odds?
has so much stuff to do.
Yeah.
I'm recording it, and as he's walking out, he sees my phone, and he's like, no, put your phone down. What is going on? You're just bringing wild animals. And I tried to tell him, like, oh, Jerry in the back, and I work here. And he goes, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
He said, "There's nobody named Jerry
right,
here."
Like, oh, Jerry. Who? I was like, I don't know Jerry. It's who's Jerry. And then this is how I know. This is how I know I had a guardian angel. This is how I know God is real. There was some Brazilian or Argentinian teenagers, teenage girls. They saw the ducklings and just started crying. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, this and that. Oh, and their chaperone was like, oh, they want to know. What are you going? They talked to the vice president, right? They're like, Mister, what are you going to do with the ducklings? And the vice president is like, there's a lot of them,
Yeah.
right? And he's just like, and I go, Disney's going to adopt these ducklings because they don't have a mom, isn't that right, sir? And the look he gave me, I kid you not, I'm about to go home. I'm about to go home back to Tennessee. He's gonna fire me so bad. I'm gonna be banned from watching Disney movies. This man about to fire me. The look he gave me, and he goes. Yep, that's right. And he had his little sister with him. He goes like, Carol, could you take these things in the back, please? And they're like, oh, you're such a saint, Mr. Vice President. And I was like, he's such a great guy.
Kidding
and he goes,
me.
you, come here in the back. And I was like, this is it. All this other stuff was just for show. I'm about to get fired.
What did he say?
I get to the back, and we get in this elevator. He gives Carol. She leaves, gives the ducklings to someone else. And he goes, did you touch any of them? I was like, well, I mean, kind of, but I washed my hands. He goes, but you don't feel sick? I was like, no. All right, cool. We get in this elevator. And we're going up the elevator, and I'm like, is this guy going to fight me?
Yeah.
Because, like, we're not talking at all. And we get in the room, and he says, that took a lot of guts.
Yes, it did.
As that, he goes, no one's ever done something like that to me in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you get away with this. Are you gonna? Do you work today? I was like, yeah. He goes, okay. Where do you work? I was like, Magic Kingdom. He called my boss, told me it was okay. I was gonna be late. And then he's like, yeah. If you ever catch you doing anything like this, that's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna lift you up with a warning.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that video,
yeah.
So this is where the marketing part comes in.
Yeah.
Video started doing well on Facebook.
Yeah.
I started sharing it with groups that liked animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is about knowing your audience.
Yeah.
Right. They're the ones who want to see it and share it the most.
Right.
Some were some mom groups, some were some animal rights groups, stuff like that. People who just like ducklings, right?
Yeah.
And then when I saw it was starting a lot of views, I put it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when, and this is back in like 2015, 2016, and that's when I was like, oh, you know what? I think I can get a lot more views on my YouTube video if I attach it to the Facebook groups I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Instead of just sharing my Facebook video.
Yeah, because then they'll click. Yeah.
Right. Started getting a lot of views.
Yeah.
And then, like, within, like, a couple of days, it hit, like, 5 million. I was like, wow.
Wow.
Dude, I'm getting a lot of, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was like, I just want to find more people who like this video.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know it could give me money at the time.
Yeah, I was
like,
about to say, is like, that's what I was going to ask. Like, did you know? Because it just seems like you were just kind of arbitrarily doing it, but.
No, I just wanted to see numbers. The money came.
Yeah.
Like, money came when I sold it to Junkin Media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this was after I had already contacted, like, the Weather Channel.
Mm-hmm.
They have a contact form. I was like, I wonder if I could just put this on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
because I know they be stealing videos.
They do that anyway. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, they want to steal stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give them my thing?
Right.
Right? They played it on the TV. People were calling me from back home like, dude, you're like, this is your video. To this day, some people still send me, like, when people send them my video.
Yeah.
My friends will be like, oh, someone I know just sent me this video.
That's dope.
Yeah. And when I sold it to Junkin Media and started getting some ad revenue,
Yeah.
that's when I started to get some money from it.
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of learned, like, oh, exactly. With
Yeah.
the ads, right? So that's how I was learning, like, oh, okay. Really knowing your audience and really connecting with something that they like.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the money comes in.
Yeah.
I think that's also where, I mean, there's a strike going on right now.
Yeah.
I think that's where right. Exactly. I think that's where some of the disconnect with the studios are coming from when it comes between them and the audience. That's what writers and actors. And that's what their specialty is connecting with the audience.
Exactly.
Right. It's not just, I mean, there's this whole thing with AI, but AI doesn't really care, right? It's just replicating.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And that's creepy.
Oh,
I think that's so creepy. I'm like, so the way I understand it is basically they're like, oh, we can take your likeness and just do what we want with it.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, check this out. So they want to pay you, let's say you are at some agency, right? You're going to be in some movie. Doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to be able to say, hey, I'm going to pay you once, some small fee just to use, and I want you to, I'm going to 3D scan you. I'm going to do an AI clone of your voice and use you as a background actor in perpetuity after I only give you like $200. And just do whatever I want with it.
Because just to have your face and body,
body,
then they don't
voice,
even need you,
right?
Yeah, oh,
a CG clone of you doing all the background actor work
that
for
you
possibly
should be doing.
hundreds of movies, which you should be getting paid for. But you only paid that one time.
Lord, and because they're trying to do it for like the main actors too, like for pickups and stuff.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they don't understand why that's a ridiculous thing.
They don't think they understand AI in the first place.
Yeah,
I know that just because they hear like, oh, it saves money and that's all they care about.
Yeah,
a lot of them don't really understand how AI works anyway. Yeah. And on top of the fact, it's like, okay, you do a 3D scan and a voice. All right, cool. Then the editors have to go back and work with the CGI to make those models look realistic. Yeah. Which is then going to cost you money again.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you do that?
Because then as a consumer, like, I feel like I would be able to tell, like, watching a show, like, that's not a real person. Yeah. Like, which is weird.
You see CGI in movies and television today all the time. That's
exactly.
Bad,
exactly.
Right? And these are like main characters who have bad CGI. You think they're gonna care about those background actors?
No, absolutely not.
And it's gonna look terrible.
And that's what I don't want, because I'm like, I don't want something that's not real. If I want to watch CGI, then I watch something CGI. Like I feel like I get to choose, but it's just not fair to writers or actors.
No, and with the writers, it's just like, because AI is learning from their scripts. And that's what they're trying to prevent. And it's a whole thing. Yeah. It's a whole thing. And hopefully it, she had to clear her presence, defend her aura a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Get it out of here.
Be gone. Be gone from my space.
Literally. Yeah. Well, no. Do you feel like you've been personally affected by the strike?
I personally have not been affected by the strike. And part of that has been because of podcasting.
Yeah. So you're a podcaster. You're not. Yeah. You're a writer, but you're not.
Well, I'm
at
not
an agency.
tied to
Yeah.
the WGA. So here's my whole thing about the WGA, SGA, the DGA, any union period, IATSE included. My advice is always don't join until you have to.
Okay. And why is that?
So think about it like this. Let's say that you just became SAG eligible. Okay, you have the papers for it finally.
Yeah.
Okay, when you cross over that barrier, anything you do is now SAG, right?
Yeah.
But all of your contacts are non-union.
Okay.
So you're not going to get any work because they do non-union work, but you're union. I mean, you can't do that non-union stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good agent, which not everyone has access to the best of agents, not everyone has access to the best of managers, especially when they're first starting out.
Yeah.
Or just agents. There are tons of SAG actors that don't have agents and managers.
Yeah.
And really grind themselves.
Yeah.
So when you don't have access to those, because if you're SAG, you're going against the A-listers and B-listers and all these, top level actors.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to choose them over you. They are. That's the reality of it. So you want to make sure you already have enough union contacts to where, I'm going to get into those union projects. Be SAG eligible right now. I believe it's 5 SAG projects. That is not enough networking to be able for you to say, I know enough union people to get on to more union stuff.
Exactly.
If you only know non-union projects and that's where your wheelhouse is,
Yeah.
right? When you switch over to SAG, you're going to lose all this money.
Yeah.
And possibly that's what pays for your rent.
Yeah.
Possibly that's what pays to put gas in your car.
Yeah.
Right? So what you want is to have get on enough SAG projects to where SAG basically tells you, hey, you have to join SAG now.
Yeah.
Because that means enough people are putting you in these union projects that you're just going to be there.
And there's like a high demand for you then.
Yes. Yes. Okay. That's the trick.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the same spot with the WGA. And so I've written some features, I've written some television shows and stuff like that. In a couple writers' rooms. But I'm going to leave that be.
What, HBO? Disney?
Yeah, I've done some stuff with HBO. I've done some stuff with Disney.
With these people.
Sony. I think that
like literally, what haven't you done? That's
I don't know. I was a grip. I did everything.
Were you?
Yeah. Asylum was my first time. I worked with Asylum Studios. They were the first people who they hired me as a grip. They were the first. That's actually not even the. Was that the first big studio? That was the first, I would say, larger studio where I was like, I'm the key grip. Yeah. Because before I was like a PA or I was a writer's assistant or something. This
and explain to the people what a grip is.
So a grip is the person who sets up, they don't work with the lights exactly because those are the electricians. Yeah. But they set up all the C-stands and all the wiring and they help with the rigging to put that stuff up there. Yeah. Right? So, I was a key grip. So I had grips under me.
It's very important.
And I was telling them what to do. I was like, I need this over there, please. I need this combo up right now. Bro.
And do what I said because I'm the key grip.
I'm the key grip.
Very important.
Yeah. In this movie.
Was that your first job out in LA?
No, my first legit job out in LA was actually, I would say that was my second studio job. My first big, I would say, actual studio job, I was running C camera for Duke Media. So Bill Duke, he was doing a documentary, and I had to be his C cameraman.
And how did we get that job?
That one came from, when they talk about networking, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. His
assistant at the time knew me and knew that I was doing everything.
Yeah.
I'm an everything guy. Yeah. I'm an everything guy. I got to know how to do everything.
Guys are very important.
Right.
The more you know.
He's like, I need a guy who knows how to, who could run CCAM, but also might do other things like DP a little bit and stuff like that. And he was like, call DJ. Gave me a shot. Yeah. Rest is history. Yeah.
And you've just been doing all the things since then.
I tried. I tried.
Okay, out of all the things that you've done, what has been your favorite? So far?
That's a really good question. You stumped me with that one.
No.
You said favorite. I would say one of the coolest things. Well, let's say the favorite.
Take your time.
Okay. I gotta split it in two.
Okay.
I'll say the coolest thing, my coolest moment that I have, and then I guess one thing, the favorite thing that I've done.
Okay.
Okay, so the coolest thing to me personally, Ryan Coogler is a big hero of mine.
And
Ryan
you
Coogler
met
is
him.
awesome. I've met him several times.
Yes.
Now.
Several.
No, well, two. That's not. We're not friends. He does not like text me and stuff like that. I've met him twice, but it was really cool because I was voting for the Spirit Awards,
Okay.
and I was a voter for the Spirit Awards. Black Panther was up for Spirit Awards, and at the time, Black Panther just come out, so there is no Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Right, there's not even on the radar.
Yeah.
Right, and a whole bunch of people in there voters were asking stupid questions.
What?
They was being stupid. They was like, "When's Black Panther 2 coming out?" Hey, they were asking a whole bunch of stuff that he couldn't possibly say. Like, "Hey, how much did Disney personally pay you?" These voters,
You
I'm
sound
sorry.
so personally offended.
They were. I was like, yeah.
The way
Tonight,
you
some real
phrased
stuff.
them.
Because once again,
Well,
comic
what did
book
you
nerd,
ask?
I was like, "This is a comic book movie." I'm trying to ask some real stuff. So,
What did you ask?
me personally, I was like, me in the back, and Ryan was like, because I wore one of my favorite jackets, very shiny, so I knew he was gonna call me eventually. You gotta strategize to win.
Shiny.
Exactly. So I was like, well, I liked how you made Man Ape into M'Baku. See, in the comics, Man Ape is a black guy in a giant gorilla suit.
Oh,
Yeah.
We wouldn't dare.
Yeah, exactly.
And, and I love M'Baku.
Yeah, M'Baku's old. He's a favorite to a lot of people.
Yes.
So I was like, I like how you took a character that was traditionally kind of racist and changed into someone who's completely lovable.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, and he was like, "Oh, thanks. I appreciate it."
Yeah.
So then I was like, "Yeah. So how come there's no such thing as shadow physics there?" And he's like, "I don't even. What is that?" I was like, "Well, you see." I pushed up my glasses.
I'm like, what is that?
Well, you see, this is the nerd in me came out. I was like, "Well, you see, it's a mix between magic and science, and that's what makes Wakanda powerful, not vibranium technically." And he's like, "This is true." He was like, "I didn't even know that." I was like, "Oh, made the Black Panther movie, but didn't know that. Okay."
You say, give me a job.
Right. I'm trying to flex. So
with your jacket.
Right. So what made that really cool experience for me was because the second time I saw him at the African American Film Critics Association Awards, he remembered me from that time, and that's how I got that selfie with him.
Dope.
The picture that I posted everywhere. And I was like, "Oh, do you remember me?" And he was like, "Oh, no, because I meet a lot of people." I was like, "That's cool. That's cool." I was that guy who asked about that shadow physics thing. He was like, "Oh!" He turned to someone and goes, "Hey, this is that guy that asked that really nerdy question." I was like,
He said, I went home and told the boys about it.
He was like, "Bro, this guy." He was like, I was like, "Can we take a picture?" He's like, "Yeah, we can take a picture." I was like, this is cool.
He said, absolutely.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And then I would have to say one of my favorite moments. So I worked in. I just recently left a development company.
Okay.
I found Hot Pot Productions.
Yes.
So when I was developing one of my shows called Blood Related for Hot Pot Productions and working with them, that was, I would say, one of my favorite things I've done up until now, mainly because I got to see so much of behind the scenes I don't usually get to see.
Okay.
I'm a person who, I got to know everything. That's why I do so much stuff. It's because I just got to know. I'm hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? I got to meet so many different showrunners. I got to meet so many different producers, working with them.
Yeah.
And then I really got to see what it takes to make a show go from an idea to something that's successful. And to me personally, that is more valuable than any one set that I've been on.
Yeah.
Knowing the process of actually making it.
Yeah.
To me was so invaluable.
Yeah, cuz I love being on set. It's my favorite thing, seeing it come to fruition. I'm like, "Oh, this is what we work for."
This is dope. Exactly.
This is the pinnacle right here.
Yeah.
But that's good though. And especially cuz you've done so many different things. The fact that you can even narrow it down, but in that,
it's because I gotta do everything. I have to do everything. Yeah.
But in that, is there anything that you still want to do that you haven't done?
Yeah, actually, transmedia is a thing it's not new exactly.
Yeah,
but it's kind of bigger and it's up and coming. I think there's going to be like it was a buzzword like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But it was just a buzzword.
Yeah. We had a class, transmedia class.
Yeah, there's a transmedia class, and like some
Yeah.
people don't really know exactly what to do with it just yet. I want to kind of have my own company that does that. That helps people that uses transmedia to help grow other people's ideas and things like that.
And transmedia is basically when it's like different things from the same
IP.
Yes.
It's a little bit different than that. So the best way to think about an IP is to think of it like a house.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Both of my podcasts are now on the radio. They're with KHTS Radio. Shout out to them. 98.1.
Shout out to come on, 98.1.
Yeah, 98.1 FM.
You better plug it.
But so I think of I'll use something simple. I think of them as a house, right? How do you make a house worth more? You add stuff to it.
Okay.
Right. So transmedia is not about transferring. Everyone knows a book is turned to a movie.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for years. Right. But this is more like I take one story and I tell it across a larger medium. Right. People usually use Star Wars when we're talking about transmedia.
Okay.
Because it's actually one story, right?
Yeah.
The story of Anakin Skywalker, but it's told through books and TV and video games.
Like Harry Potter.
Right, like Harry Potter too. But it's all one story.
Okay.
You get it? So it's one thing that's being transferred. It's like it's not a retelling. It's an addition to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example. When it comes to Jaws was a book and then it was a movie. That's a little old school. You know what I'm saying? But still, it's an old school movie.
Yeah.
But
how old are you?
I'm secretly 85. That's the trick, actually. I'm secretly 85 years old. I go to the Academy Museum so often. I'm super old. I love all that old stuff.
An elder.
Yeah. But to take a book and turning it into a movie, it's more like making a copy of a house and putting it in a different suburb. Transmedia is more like adding to the same house. So instead of just copying that house over, if I have Southern Senpai's The Podcast, then I'm going to give it a backyard, expand up the backyard, and put a sunroom next to it, attach a sunroom to the house by making the radio show. You feel me?
Yeah.
Then once you make the radio show, it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to add another story to my house by making a novel based off of the host for some reason, right?
Okay.
Now it's a novel series.
Yeah.
Then I can then I might add an in-ground pool by making a visual novel, which is part game and part novel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we had to make a game.
Yeah. Like, games are awesome. People love that kind of stuff. And the visual novels are half game, half novel, where they're not super expensive to make. A lot of people think that transmedia costs tons of money. There's a lot of different ways to save money while still expanding. And it's this lack of knowledge that a lot of people don't really understand. This is something that they did to the MCU. Like the first arc of the MCU.
Yeah.
Right? Now, comics have been around long before that came out, right? But it's something that I talked about. One of my writing mentors, his name's Kevin Denovis. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Kevin, because Kevin taught me one of the best writing lessons he taught me was the difference between a good script and a bad script. People are like, oh, how do I write? How do I write? How do I write? How do I make it better?
Yeah.
That's what you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was one of the, he helped plan out that arc, and that's as far as I'll say for that.
I'm like, give me the tea.
They got NDAs in this town.
Yeah.
They got NDAs in this town.
Well, at least at least you know.
Yeah.
So,
I'll say that. But, you know, as far as I'll go.
Yeah.
But he was one of the ones who was telling me, like, oh, this is what they do, right? And so I took some of that knowledge that Kevin gave me, not from Marvel or nothing like that, but just like how to really structure and build a story, right, in such a way that it has room to grow. Like when people talk about TV shows and stuff like this, when they had to ask, does it have legs? They want to know how far it can go.
Yeah.
Right. There are certain ways that you can build stories and properties, and even if it doesn't have legs, to give it legs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I took that knowledge that he gave me with storytelling. And then I took the knowledge that I had working in development companies, right? To then, it's not a story Bible. Everyone knows what the story Bible is. Now a lot of people know what a transmedia blueprint is, or even how to make it. I personally, I had to go find some colleges to teach me how to do this. I went back to school
Yeah.
while we were in school.
Yeah.
After we graduated,
Yeah.
I went back to school when I was in a development company.
Where'd you go?
There at South Wales in Australia.
Mm.
I took it online. What you mean?
I was about to say, wait.
No. Hey, if you're watching this, I did not have the bills to go out to Australia and just
I
be
was
like,
about to
oh,
say, did
let me
you
just go
leave?
to Australia. No. I audited.
I thought you were here this whole time.
You were correct. That's why you
How
thought
did you find this school?
that.
And of all the schools.
That's because I just started asking around. There's transmedia books
Yeah.
in the library. They're very, not that they're rare, just that they're not written that often.
Yeah.
It's not a popular
You should write
subject.
one.
I should.
Yeah.
I should. There's
Because you also, had a publishing company?
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. yeah. That's what
We're going to be here all night.
that's what I did actually before I came out to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sold that publishing company to get some money to come out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really fun. And now that, and I feel like the transmedia company I'm going to be starting,
Yeah.
it's called Soy Sauce Medias. So
Like
that,
it's-
you know, yeah, I have my little soy sauce logo and everything like that.
I'm
You know
surprised
what
that
I'm saying?
name isn't taken.
So was I.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very obvious. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, someone has this.
Mhm.
Oh, it's free? No way. Well, you know.
You
I mean,
said
if they don't
you
want.
said God left it for me personally.
Right, exactly,
Yeah, I
exactly.
love that name.
So, you know, I want to take all those experiences and make it into something bigger.
Yeah.
There is especially as African Americans,
Yeah.
I feel like what we lack the most when it comes to the entertainment industry is just the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And especially in this modern world and I have a little prediction going on in which I'm like, eventually studios are going to be overtaken by independent creators just because
Yeah.
studios, their main job is to distribute and market, but you're able to do a lot of stuff yourself nowadays.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between them and you is that they have a lot of money
Yeah.
and they also have A-list people, right? But
Yes.
why do they choose A-listers?
Why?
Because they have followers.
Yeah.
You go to the movie to see The Rock, and a lot of people do because they like The Rock.
Yeah.
But if you have billions of followers on YouTube
Yeah.
and on Instagram, because I work with some influencers who have millions of followers on
Yeah.
Instagram and stuff like that. When they go out and do stuff, they bring tons of people too,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And they might not be
Because
quote
popular
unquote,
is popular.
right. They might not be studio A-list
Yeah.
actors, but they have just as many people who follow them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like they can kind of do some of that stuff themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like what they're missing is the structure that the studio gives.
Yeah.
And since transmedia is still kind of growing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, cool. I want to have a company that helps, people like us
Yeah.
by showing that blueprint and showing really how to get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We talked a little bit earlier about selling,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So niche, audience, and then to be fair, those are hard,
Yeah.
right? I always put this extra step in there because everyone goes, "Oh, then you execute. Then that's when you go get the equipment." And that's when no.
What's the,
Prior to that, you need to make an MVP.
what is that? What do you mean as far as MVP?
Yeah, so it's not most valuable player.
Yeah,
It's most people-
obviously. That's why I'm like, what is it?
Yeah. It's a minimal viable product in which you
It's like-
make a
yeah.
smaller version of what you want to see if it even works in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically has your core functions of what you want. For example, if I want to build a motorcycle,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make a motorcycle company.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Before I spend all the money building it up, right? Before I waste all the money and time and the efforts and all that stuff, I want to see if people actually like it. Just because
Yeah.
my friends tell me it's good and people who I talk to tell me it's good doesn't mean I know it's going to work.
Yeah.
So what I can do instead of making an entire motorcycle company, right? I can just try to sell a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Just get into the motorcycle game. Just
Yeah.
try to sell a couple motorcycles with my own style and brand that I'm going to put into my company, right? If you sell 3 or 4 motorcycles, you're like, oh, okay, with your brand on it, you're like, oh, okay. It was a lot cheaper to have 3 motorcycles than a giant motorcycle company that makes motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
But it also gives you clarification in what they might like. It gives you customer advice before you even make your brand. That
Yeah.
could be invaluable information.
It's like a what is it? When there's like a small group of people that like experiment.
It's like a trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a word for it though. It's gonna drive me nuts. I can't think
You're
of
gonna be
what
thinking
it is.
about it. What's gonna
I
happen?
know.
We're gonna leave here, and then you're gonna remember
Yes.
exactly
Dang
what it
it.
was.
Whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
You want to make an
Well,
MVP.
yeah.
Right. Actually, you make an MVP, a minimal viable product of it.
Okay.
Right. So then once that can, and also can validate your idea that people actually want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's validated, right, and you can even start giving you some seed money depending on how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, I don't need to run an beer distillery,
Yeah.
but if I know how to brew at home, I sell a couple home brews first, and then people like it. Now I have a little seed money,
Yeah.
and it validates my business model, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Then that's when you go out and buy the bigger equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is you got to stick the landing part,
Mm-hmm.
the execution. If you don't know how to do something, go find someone who does.
Yes.
Go find someone who does.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll just get my friends and family to do it for free. Me personally, I did not start off by giving them lots of money, but I gave them what I could give them.
Yeah, I was about to say, typically there's always somebody in your budget
Right.
that's willing to help most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And if there's not someone, that has to be you.
Yeah.
It has to be you. Gotta be you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you start off alone, the people will come. So it definitely is worth it.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So, when you're going through the execution part, so when it comes to like podcasts, for
Yeah.
example, I did not have a lot of execution experience with podcasts.
Yeah.
So what I do, I went through my Rolodex. I'm like, has anyone done this before? Has anyone done this before? They just greenlit me to do this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
someone help a brother.
Yeah.
And I had some friends in the industry who were like, oh, we've kind of done this before. And so they gave me some advice and things like that. Also, the internet was a really great help
Yeah.
when it came down to choosing things that were within my budget.
Yeah. Shout out to YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube.
YouTube University, because
Exactly. Like a lot of them were like, "Oh, you want to get these kind of mics and this kind of setup and that." I was like, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So YouTube, which one is the cheapest alternative?
Yes.
to the
Exactly.
things that they are saying.
Mm-hmm.
So then partnering up with them, I was able to then launch my first couple episodes. I did have a caveat with Spoiler Media.
Okay.
So it wasn't all like daisies and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Like everything. That
I
just
had
flow.
no. I mean, I'd done movie guy,
Mm-hmm.
movie and television, right?
Yeah.
Writer director. So I didn't really have a lot of experience being a podcast producer, and they knew that.
Yeah.
So that meant that they were like, "Well, you have to show us that you can actually make these podcasts happen. We're not just gonna let you in." And,
Yeah.
and
Because who
for
knows
you
you?
right? Like they're like, "You might be known over there, not known in
Yeah.
the podcast world. Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
So the caveat was they were like, "Okay, you need to make 3 episodes completed by X time, and they better be good when you deliver them."
Yeah.
And then we'll move forward from there.
I'm
And
nervous.
I mean, no, when you give me a challenge, I'm like, what you say?
You
think
said,
I can
come
do
on
this?
in. Don't play no games with me.
You gotta have the swagger. All that fear, that's when
Yeah.
you get back in the car and you're alone. And
You
then
was
you're
in
like,
that room like, yeah.
and plus, I showed them 2 shows.
Yeah.
Which means I need to have 6 and not 3 by this day.
Oh. I would have been shaking in
was
my
like,
boots.
nah,
Yeah.
Cool. And then I kid you not, I was texting my one of my friends walking out and we're like, holy dude, look out, I need your help so bad, bro. Call me in like 30 minutes. Not right now.
Yeah.
Not right now. I don't want to break down right now. But in 30 minutes, we'll be back in my car.
Yeah.
And then we'll let it out there.
Yeah.
And we'll freak out there. And then
meet
I'm
me
gonna
at the
figure it out.
bar.
Right, exactly. Meet me at the bar or something. Right. So, it's about finding those people who can help you execute.
Yeah.
And now I've been in the game long enough to where I know how to do everything myself.
Yeah.
I would give a lot of people a lot of people who are starting, just put it out there.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't know what your audience does and does not like until they can experience it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example with Film Center.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing studio news,
Okay.
right? That's what we focus on. Not a lot of celebrity stuff, straight up studio stuff that's for the entertainment industry and people in the industry specifically. That's our audience.
Yeah.
Right. We thought they just wanted to know a lot of access stuff about things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we found that our audience likes it when we talk a lot about numbers.
Okay. Yeah.
For example, when I brought Kung Fu Panda and Fast and the Furious earlier. That is actually a segment that we did. Why does Kung Fu Panda only have a couple? I mean, Kung Fu Panda, a lot of people like it, makes so much money. Why is there only a couple of these and a lot of Fast and the Furious? Because then we're talking about quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Right? However, Fast and the Furious, I believe Fast and the Furious 9, it was something that made like $34 million in DVD sales. Not the box office, the DVD sales. That is more than some movies' budgets, right?
Yeah.
In a time in which people don't buy
and
DVDs.
I was about to say, and DVDs?
Right, exactly.
The ninth one?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's like, why do these movies make so much money?
And who is buying these DVDs?
Exactly. So this is something that we found that our audience would like when we added numbers to them. We're breaking down these interesting things that the rap isn't talking about.
Yeah.
Right? That other, entertainment trades are skipping over. Right? Because they've been around for so long, they have so many connections with different people, they can't talk about certain things and break down stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? And we found out when we're bringing them real, actual numbers and facts that once you listen to our podcast, you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to go look this up.
Yeah.
Right? We tell you where we get our stuff from. Oh, and just for example, I got that $34 million from thenumbers.com.
Okay.
Right? So, and By the Numbers is a website that tracks how much money movies make. DVD sales, internationally, domestically, stuff like that. So we kind of empower by giving these numbers and telling you where we're getting this information from. We also empower our listeners to get the knowledge themselves.
Yeah, to do it themselves. Yeah.
And so that's something that because at first we were kind of like, this is true. It's called Film Center because it was originally a ripoff of Sports Center. That's true.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's clever.
Yeah. We was watching the LSU versus FSU game, and that was the first time I was like, oh, it was a Sports Center coverage of it, and I was like, people should talk about movies this way.
Yeah.
Right? Numbers and things like that. But we didn't do it a lot at first, but then we found out that's really what our audience wanted, so that's when we went all the way with it.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. So then
I love that.
The execution, making sure you're surrounding yourself with those people who know how to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's very important.
This has been very insightful.
Yeah.
And I just love having you here.
It's fun to be here.
So our next little segment, I am going to ask you 10 rapid questions.
Oh, God.
Now, these questions are random.
Okay.
So let me see. Favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
Would you prefer super strength or invisibility?
Ooh, it's super strength.
What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
You're not like everybody else because you're an idiot. It is. I was too stupid to not try.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. Okay. Black Panther 1 or 2?
The first one.
Okay. What's the first comic book you ever read?
The Hulk issue 1, the original one where he's gray.
Ooh.
Hulk is gray.
Okay. What TV show has won the most Emmys of all time?
What's that, The Sopranos? I don't know.
You know what's so crazy? When you came in here today, you were talking about it. And I was like, that's so funny. I actually Googled it. It's Saturday Night Live.
Oh, my God. That was going to be sick. It's so obvious.
Yeah. But it's also it's like it is, but it isn't. Okay.
It's been on for 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Favorite board game?
Life.
DC or Marvel?
Ooh. Marvel.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Explain your preference of Japanese animation over American in 5 words or less.
Storytelling structure.
Okay. Last question. In season 4, episode 1 of The Boondocks, when Riley throws the chair to distract the angry mob, what 2 words did a random man in the crowd say that incited the fight?
I'm mad. I know. Yo, that was. No, that was. Yeah. It's going in there just like, oh my God, a chair. I'm mad. They just start fighting.
That literally killed me in this
my
whole
gosh.
Alabama brawl.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
my
Jesus.
mom is from Alabama. She
Really?
loves all these memes that are happening.
I know. My parents are. I'm like, we were sharing them as a family.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Ooh.
Okay. So my final 2 questions that I asked every one of my guests.
Okay.
The first one, What is your personal motto?
I am not a result of what's happened to me. I am a result of who I choose to be.
Amen. That's good. Okay. If you could teach a master class on anything, what would it be?
I would teach a master class on discipline because a lot of people seek the motivation to be brave to do stuff, when really they should seek the discipline to be unwavering. Because when your motivation fails, your discipline will keep you up and doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Because your motivation, I feel like I'm doing it today. I don't feel like doing it today. I do feel like discipline. It's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm doing it anyway.
No matter what.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I absolutely loved having you here.
So much fun.
Yes. I know.
Disclaimer. We haven't been able to talk in a minute.
I know.
So this is awesome.
This is awesome. And I was like, I can't even remember the last full conversation we had.
It's been too long.
It has entirely been too
Way
long.
too
But
long.
we're gonna go to Comic-Con together. So
Yes. Hey, check us out at Comic-Con.
Yes.
We'll be there.
And y'all know I TikTok everything. So when
Yeah.
is it?
It's in December 1st to the 3rd. Tickets are on sale now. The early bird tickets are 20% off right now.
All right. How much are the tickets?
With the 20% off, I think they're like $50.
Okay, that's fair. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll go on this adventure with you.
I actually bought mine as soon as they went up. I always do that mainly because I missed it one year because tickets sold out, and I was like, it will never happen again.
Okay. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to check and see if they sold out or not. Hell.
No, this I have no idea. It was right after the pandemic.
Okay.
That's because everyone's gonna be out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
When it was able to come back. And stuff like that. So I think that's why it sold out that year.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see about this year.
We'll
see if
see.
they still.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Derek.
It's been so much fun. Yeah.
We really appreciate having you, and I will see you all on the next episode of the Black
See
Retreat.
you on the next episode. You better tune in. I'm gonna know if you don't tune in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna know.
We gonna find you. All right, bye, y'all.
All right, see ya.